Zarathi stood before the sterile viewport of the Galactic Concordance breeding station, her luminescent skin flickering between shades of anxious violet and pale blue. The datapad in her three-fingered hands trembled as she reviewed the file for the 100th time that cycle. Species: Homo sapiens. Origin: Earth, designated Hazard Class 7 Death World. Specimen: male. Age: 28 standard years. The words blurred together as her twin hearts hammered against her narrow ribcage. For 3 generations, her people, the elegant civilized Velkari, had faced extinction. Their carefully curated genetics, perfected over millennia of controlled breeding, had become too refined, too pure. The species was collapsing under the weight of its own genetic stagnation. The solution proposed by the Concordance geneticists had been as shocking as it was desperate. Introduce wild genetic material from compatible species across the galaxy. Humans, those impossible survivors from a world of disease, predators, and gravity that would crush a Velkari child, had proven genetically compatible with over 47 concordant species. Participant Zarathi? The medical administrator's voice chimed through her translator implant. Your matched partner has arrived. Do you require additional counseling before proceeding? Zarathi's chromatic patches pulsed deep purple, the color of fear among her kind. Every story she'd heard about humans painted them as beautiful monsters, beings who could run for hours without stopping, who healed from wounds that would kill any civilized species, who consumed toxic compounds for pleasure and called it spicy food. They came from a world so hostile that their bodies were armored in thick skin, their bones dense as starship hull plating, and now she was expected to reproduce with one. I will proceed, she managed, her voice barely a whisper through her translator. The door to the integration chamber slid open with a soft hiss. Zarathi forced herself to turn, her large obsidian eyes focusing on the figure entering the room. He was smaller than she'd expected. The human male stood perhaps half a head shorter than her willowy 7-foot frame, though his build was considerably broader. His skin was a warm brown, decorated with what her cultural database identified as freckles, seemingly random pigmentation spots that served no purpose her people could identify. Dark hair, slightly disheveled, crowned his head. His eyes, those strange, expressive binocular eyes, met hers, and to her surprise, they crinkled at the corners. He was smiling. Hi, he said, his translator rendering the greeting in musical Velkari tones. I'm Marcus. You must be Zarathi. I'm sorry, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. She stared at him, her chromatic patches flickering in confusion. Where was the predatory intensity, the barely contained violence she'd been warned about? Marcus seemed to notice her distress. His smile softened and he remained near the door, making no move to approach her. Hey, I know this is weird for both of us. The Concordance people told me you might be nervous. Is it okay if I come in and sit down? I promise I'm not going to do anything that makes you uncomfortable. The gentleness in his tone short-circuited Zarathi's prepared fear responses. You may enter, she managed. Marcus moved to one of the chairs specially designed to accommodate both their anatomies and sat with an easy grace that contradicted everything she'd learned about humans being clumsy by galactic standards. He kept his hands visible, resting on his knees, his posture open and non-threatening. So, he began, I'm guessing they gave you the whole humans are terrifying space orcs briefing? Zarathi's patches flickered amber, surprise. You are aware of your reputation? Marcus laughed, and the sound was warm, lacking any edge of aggression. Oh yeah, it's pretty funny actually. Don't get me wrong, Earth is rough and humans can be tough when we need to be. But mostly, he shrugged. We're just people trying to get by, same as everyone else. He leaned back slightly, maintaining that respectful distance. The Concordance recruiters told me about the Velkari situation, about how your people need genetic diversity to survive. I volunteered because, well, I believe in helping when I can. But Zarathi, his eyes met hers with earnest sincerity. This only happens if and when you're comfortable. There's no pressure, no timeline. We can take as long as you need to get to know each other, or we can decide it's not going to work. Your choice matters. Zarathi felt something shift in her chest. Her chromatic patches began to cycle toward curious yellow-green. They did not tell me humans had such consideration for consent protocols. Then they didn't tell you much about humans at all, Marcus replied. Yeah, we can be fierce when threatened, But we're also the species that domesticated wolves into dogs just because we thought they were cute. We're the ones who cry at sad movies and adopt broken things to fix them. We contain multitudes, you know? Over the next hours, they talked. Marcus told her about Earth, not the nightmare death world of legend, but a place of morning coffee and ocean sunsets, of music and laughter and pequeñas alegrías, little joys. He showed her pictures of his family on his personal datapad. His mother's, humans apparently often had two parents of the same gender. His younger sister, a creature called a cat, that had adopted him. Zarathi found herself sharing too, her fear of failure, her duty to her people, her love of star mapping and harmonic mathematics. Marcus listened with genuine interest, asking questions that showed he was truly hearing her, not just waiting for his turn to speak. As the station's lights dimmed to simulate evening cycle, Zarathi realized her chromatic patches had settled into soft pink, contentment. Attraction, trust? Marcus, she said quietly, I believe I have been afraid of the wrong thing. I feared you would be a monster, but you are simply alive. Wonderfully, terrifyingly, beautifully alive. Marcus smiled again, that warm expression that reached his eyes. And you're brilliant and thoughtful and braver than you give yourself credit for. Whatever happens next, I'm honored to know you. Zarathi extended her hand in the human gesture Marcus had taught her earlier. He took it gently, his warm fingers wrapping around hers with surprising delicacy for a creature from a high-gravity world. Perhaps, she thought, the wild things of the universe weren't something to fear. Perhaps they were exactly what her people needed to remember how to live.